What's going on YouTube? Superboy here, and welcome back to another edition of my DC comic book reviews. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Challenge of the Super Sons issue number 10. For real this time. That's right. If you saw my video earlier this week, there was a really bizarre mix-up with comixology. So I had purchased Challenge of the Super Sons number 10, and then when I read it, it switched from 10, and then it said chapter 11. So I'm like, did I miss something? Is this 10 or is this 11? So a few days later, things were changed again, and the issue that I actually did review was actually issue 11, hence why I'm like, I feel like we jumped somewhere, we're missing something. So I retitled that other video to issue 11, so you can check that one out. That's my review of issue 11. So now we're going to be talking about issue 10 for real. So there was a lot of confusion about it, but they corrected it, they fixed the error, so now we know what happens in issue 11, and we already know what happens in issue 10. So there's that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about issue 10, get this thing out here, and then later on today I'll post my Godzilla vs. Kong review. So that should be fun to talk about as well. So let's get started. So again, this issue is titled Chapter 10, Let's Do the Time Warp Again. So, you know, a nice nod to Rocky Horror Picture Show, although there's no other nods to it, so I'm not sure why they titled it. But then again, it's just a little reference. So this one's written by Peter J. Tomasi with the art by Evan Stanley, not Max Raynor this time around. I don't know if Max Raynor comes back for the remaining issues, but this one seems... So this and Chapter 11 definitely have the same artist, so we'll see what happens there. But anyway, let's go ahead and summarize the thing. And again, the art style is quite different from the Raynor stuff. I prefer the Max Raynor art style. Just I feel like that fits more of... It kind of reminds me more of Jorge Jimenez's artwork. But this art style is fine. It suits it. It's definitely kid-friendly. So let's go ahead and talk about this issue. So again, we're back in 1521 CE, definitely during English times. The thing with Robin and Superboy is they were saved by Rora. Again, what I liked about this issue is we got to know more about Rora's character. I mean, we're 10, 11 issues into this thing, and we hardly know anything about her. And I was kind of hoping that early on, like, oh, we're going to get to know her more, but then it would just jump back to the present, and we really didn't get to spend too much time with Rora. Now that we got a little bit more of the context, we can understand her motivations and why she does the things she does. So we come to find out that she was a slave of Felix Faust. She's been his servant pretty much ever since her parents were killed by him. So she's been working for the man who killed her parents. And the only reason she stuck around is so she can study his dark arts and magic. So she's like, okay, if I'm going to be a servant, I'm going to sit around here. I'm going to learn a little bit more about this guy and try and find a way, hopefully later on, to like defeat him. But like she was kind of trapped in like an endless cycle. So she read the minds of the Super Sons. She's like, oh, this is something hopeful. This is my chance to get out of here. And of course, Damian doesn't believe a word she says. John is a little bit more optimistic. So she's telling her whole story. She's like, seeing the challenges you stare down, the dangers you rise against, you have given me that hope. It shines off both of you like a small sun. Damian's like, phew, really piling it on, are you? And John's like, you gotta admit, that was kind of nice. Rora's kind of had enough. She's like, well, I've said too much. Go ahead and try to escape. I won't bother you. Good luck. John just looks back at Damian like, come on, we got to help her. Damian's like, no, I don't want to help her. But John just quickly goes to her aid like, come on, you can come with us. How can we help you? So she talks about, she's like, okay, I want to start a new life. I want to come with you both into the future. I want to be like you both. And so John's excited. He's like, all right, cool. You can come with us to the future. And she calls him Superman. Obviously, Damian doesn't like that. He's like, it's Superboy. And Damian's like, you've got to be the biggest idiot in the world. She's mind controlling you, because Damian definitely has his trust issues with Rora, of course, pretty much with anybody that he doesn't really get the chance to know very well. So he's very untrustworthy of people, and it kind of makes sense given his background. But, you know, a lot of this issue delves into kind of his misery. Like, there's a lot of comedic stuff with Damian in this issue in particular, and really a lot of stuff in general. Like, a lot of the comedy comes from Damian being kind of miserable, or shit happening to him, or shit talking. He's very funny in the Challenge of the Super Sons things. I think Tomasi is pretty good at writing the humor in this stuff. So they go with Rora to a little place in the forest. Of course, there's more stuff to like piss Damian off. Like, he gets covered in leaves. He just looks pissed off at John. Again, there's a lot of funny stuff in this thing with both characters. So they go to her little tree fortress. They come across a little giant creature in the forest. Damian's like, a giant, I got his head. And he's really excited, and he's trying to punch the thing. He's like, come on, John, what are you doing? then the giant makes a deal because apparently magic is kind of banned in this forest because of what happened before, where it's like, look, we're just passing through, we're trying to like escape from Felix, Faust, and all that. Like, okay, I'll let you down. Damian just kind of like gets hit there. He helps them into a little tree fortress. They go in there, and then that leads to issue 11. And of course, this also has, you know, nods to what's going on with Savage and Faust. Vandal Savage just kind of had enough of Felix, Faust and all his planning and his magic. Like, your shit's not worked at all. Let's try my plan. We can cut these saplings down now. Blood beats magic every single time. So he's like, okay, we're going to go take down some trolls and all these other mystical creatures within the forest, and we're going to get those meddling kids, basically. So that was Challenge of the Super Sons, issue 10, not 11, because the previous one was 11 that I talked about earlier this week, in a nutshell. And I did have some fun with it. Again, this needed to happen, I think, earlier on in the run. I really kind of wish we just spent time, first of all, with Rora more in the past first, before we jump back to the future. Mainly because I want to learn more about her character. And I also like the idea of having a magic-based user who's also a kid joining up with the Super Sons. And again, we can see later on that she's older, but I kind of wish she would have, well, maybe she could be a character who stays around in the future, who could have gone up with the Super Sons at various adventures. Again, it kind of sucks that they're so limited with Super Sons because John's been aged up, that this kind of like, there's kind of a lacking potential in new characters to join up with them later on down the road. Because again, this feels like it's kind of in its own little pocket set in the past. So a character like Rora, you're not going to really see in the present, most likely, unless something changes. But it's kind of a bummer because I felt like if this were the present timeline, John wasn't aged up, we could see other characters kind of join up with the Super Sons and go on more adventures. But as it stands, I like this issue more than issue 11, mostly because it dove into Rora's backstory a little bit more. But I think issue 11 still had the funny bit. And it's weird I'm comparing this to an issue that's technically not supposed to have been released, but because I already got it this week, I'm just generally talking about it. But yeah, so this was a pretty fun one. I know that I say that a lot, but this is definitely more interesting than the Super Sons just kind of saving the Justice League. Again, that provides some nice comedic relief, but I kind of want to know more about this other character. So yeah, she's going to kind of join up with them on their quest a little bit. I think it's fun when they meet up with new characters to team up with and go on a little adventures. And yeah, so that's Challenge of the Super Sons number 10. What did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Be sure to come back later on today. I'm going to be talking about Godzilla vs. Kong. I didn't do my review on that yet, but I am excited to talk about the thing. So that's all I got to say. As always, take care now. Bye-bye then, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.